How are we doing, ladies and gentlemen? It has been a while since I have done a Bulls hot takes video. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know I was doing this series on a weekly basis. That is until I had another kid right at the start of the off season. And although I've done a few hot takes reaction videos over the course of the off season, it certainly has not been every week. But be that as it may, we're doing it now. So in today's video, I'm going to be reacting to your Bulls hot takes. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to leave your takes in the comments below to be featured in a future video. So what's going on, everyone? You're listening to Bulls Central here. Hope you're all doing well. We are nearing closer to 30,000 subscribers. So as a reminder, I am doing a giveaway in which I'll be giving 3 lucky winners their choice between Bulls tickets for this upcoming season or a Bulls jersey of their choosing for those who are not able to attend a game in Chicago. All you have to do to be entered in the drawing is subscribe to the channel, and once we hit 30,000, I will close the drawing and be selecting the 3 winners via a random generator. So if you enjoy the content, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video and so you can be included in the giveaway. But either way, let's get into these takes. Now, our first take comes to us from Jake Collier. Hot-ish take: Ayo is closer to his ceiling than Coby White is to his. You know, I think some people are going to be surprised by me saying this, but I actually agree with this take. Look, Coby White was a highly recruited high school prospect, was a former lottery pick, has the ability to be an incredible offensive player with his outside shooting, but also his quickness in getting to the bucket. That doesn't take away anything from Ayo, because Ayo has outplayed Coby thus far in their short careers. Ayo, no question in my view, is the better all-around player. He plays with much more poise, IQ, and confidence than Coby does, not to mention the fact that he's a much better two-way player and two-way potential. But the fact of the matter is, if we're strictly talking about ceilings, Ayo has already exceeded expectations based on where we would have pegged him to be. Now, you could say, well, because he's exceeded expectations, his ceiling should now be elevated, like we should now expect Ayo's ceiling to be a future all-star and a franchise cornerstone piece, right? But that was never really what we thought of Ayo when he was drafted, and not what we thought Ayo was going to become. Whereas with Coby, based on what we saw in his freshman year at North Carolina, the fact that he was a number 7 pick, the fact that he showed flashes of being a high-level offensive player in his rookie season, a lot of people felt that his ceiling was going to be an all-star, or at least a number 2, number 3 option on a contending team. So for Coby, the ceiling has always been higher than Ayo's, and Ayo has progressed faster towards that ceiling, while Coby, because he has underperformed, has been an inconsistent player. He is still well below his ceiling, and based on what we have seen thus far. So I actually think that it's an accurate statement to say that Ayo is closer to his ceiling than Coby is, simply because of the fact that Coby has underperformed with still much further to go to actually reach his ceiling, while Ayo has already, in a way, kind of been hitting that mark and getting closer to his ceiling than we maybe would have expected from Coby. Next, we've got Garrett Singerland. Zoe's not going to last in Chicago. I mean, I can see why some might feel that way. I won't lie and say that I'm nervous that this is potentially looking like another case of a Bulls point guard who had a promising career but continued to suffer knee injuries. I don't even have to say the name of who I'm talking about. And yes, these injuries could run Lonzo out of Chicago if he simply cannot stay healthy and gets to a point where the Bulls just look to do a salary dump for pennies on the dollar, kind of like how the Bulls had to do with Derrick Rose. I really hope it doesn't come to that. And I actually don't think that it will. Like, I really do think that Lonzo is going to recover from this and be an important piece to this Bulls team. But yes, there is still a small part of me that thinks this may not end well, and this could be the start of Lonzo's demise. Let's not go there, though. Let's see how the season progresses with Lonzo, and then we'll go from there. Next, we've got Oogie signed DeMarcus Cousins for a 1-year deal. But why? Like, we already brought in Andre Drummond. We needed a backup 5, and the Bulls got that in Andre Drummond, who I think is a better option, a better player than Cousins is at this point in their careers. Like, they're both players past their primes. They've kind of been afterthoughts in the NBA, but for Drummond, he can still be a relatively productive player in the league, and for Cousins, he just isn't that guy anymore. There's a reason why he's still a free agent over 2 months after free agency began. I'm sure he'll likely get picked up by some team or might do some 10-day contracts for various teams throughout the season like we saw last year, but no, Bulls already have Drummond. They don't need Cousins. Following up on that take, it was a response to it, is OMG Hi to You signed Dwight for some actual defense and rebounding instead. I mean, again, we've already got Drummond. Like, how many centers are you going to have on the roster unless Howard can come off the bench playing the power forward spot behind Patrick Williams? But no, he's really not fit to play that type of role. And guys, Drummond is only 28. Dwight Howard is 36. Next, we've got Niti Kahini. Patrick Williams will make an all-defensive team within 3 years. I don't really think this is that much of a hot take. If you had said this season, then yeah, that's a hot take. And I would have said that's a huge stretch because as good as of a defender Patrick has shown and has the potential to be an even better defender, I don't think he's close to making an all-defensive team. But 3 years from now, he's going to be 24, going into his 6th season in the NBA. You would hope, at least based on the expectations that we have of Patrick being a former number 4 overall pick, based on the potential we have seen from him to be an elite level defensive player, yeah, I can see him being an all defensive team player 3 years from now. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, and maybe he won't quite be there yet, even after 3 years yet, but I also wouldn't be surprised. So I don't think that the take is all that hot given Patrick's ceiling, and that 3 years from now he'll have the experience, development, and the fact that he's entering his prime to make this a reality. Next, we've got Czar, DeMar, or Vooch is going to be gone next season. So I assume you mean next season as in the 23-24 season, not this upcoming year, because if it's this upcoming season, meaning DeMar or Vooch are getting traded at some point down the line, yeah, that's not happening unless there is a crazy good opportunity that the Bulls could get in moving Vucevic, or they get the sense that they're not going to be able to re-sign him, whether it be because Vooch is unhappy or he's looking for a bigger extension than the Bulls are going to want to offer him, then maybe, but no, both DeMar and Vucevic will be with the Bulls throughout this upcoming season. The following season, though, again, if that's what you meant by next season, it's definitely a possibility. I mean, DeMar, no. I mean, unless things go completely south with DeMar where the Bulls underperform drastically, DeMar struggles, then maybe they look to trade him as he'll be on an expiring contract by that point. But Vucevic, though, I mean, it all depends on if the Bulls extend him. His contract is expiring at the end of this season, but by all accounts, based on what Bulls insiders have indicated, the front office is wanting Vooch to be here long-term beyond his current contract, again, to maintain that continuity that they have emphasized so much, keep their core, and continue to build off their current timeline that they also have with DeMar DeRozan. So I think it's unlikely that either of these guys will be gone even for the 23-24 season. Next, we've got Carl Never Leave You Alone Malone. Okay, if Jordan never retired to play baseball, he wouldn't have his undefeated in the final status. He'd beat the 94 Rockets without Drexler, but the 95 Rockets with Hakeem and Drexler would be too much, and the Bulls would lose in 7. Well, first of all, never count out Michael Jordan. I don't care who they are facing in the finals. We all know the guy was the ultimate competitor and hated to lose. And on the highest stage of basketball, I'm always going to take Michael Jordan. I don't care if the Rockets added a past prime Clyde Drexler. What I will say, though, is that had Jordan never retired to play baseball, it would have been incredibly difficult for the Bulls to win 8 straight championships. Like, as much as Bulls fans would like to think we would have just taken 8 straight had Jordan never retired, it is so incredibly difficult to go through 8 seasons, game after game after game, deep runs into the finals, like even as good as the Warriors dynasty was, and going to 5 straight finals, and that very last one with KD thinking, you know, they're easily going to three-peat. They ran out of steam, and all those games and minutes caught up to them in the form of injuries. For the Bulls, I mean, in this case, for the hot take, I mean, MJ, I do think being undefeated in the finals, had he never retired from baseball, would have been unlikely, but I don't think that they would have lost to the 95 Rockets. If anything, I think they would have pulled off an incredible 6 straight titles before losing to your username, Karl Malone and the 97 Jazz, where they just would have been straight fatigued to the max. Next, we've got local Bulls fan Dalen Terry is going to be our version of Herb Jones over the Pelicans. Look, I won't deny that Dalen Terry is going to be a good pickup for the Bulls. I really like what I've seen from him thus far, not just with his play, but also just his attitude and mentality towards the game of basketball. He'll be a great energizer that the Bulls need. But whenever I see people saying that Dalen Terry is going to be one of the top rookies or he's going to make an all-rookie team, you have to remember that Terry likely isn't going to be seeing much playing time in his rookie season. Granted, I also thought that about Ayo, and Ayo got considerable run as a rookie because of his play and because of injuries throughout the Bulls roster, most notably to Lonzo Ball, and he took full advantage of that opportunity. Now, of course, there still could be injuries that could lead him to getting more playing time, meaning Dalen Terry. Again, if Lonzo has to miss time, that's another rotational player for which he could snag some minutes from. I know Terry isn't a point guard, just saying that it's a player that would otherwise be in the rotation, that would be out of it, that would afford Terry some minutes. This isn't me saying that he won't become a great player in the NBA and could be a Herb Jones type player, but if you're expecting Terry to get the kind of showing that Jones did in his rookie season, then you're setting yourself up for disappointment, as I don't think that he'll be seeing very many minutes in his rookie year with the veteran roster that the Bulls have, and also just the fact that the Bulls are looking to win now. They're going to be focusing more on their veteran players rather than their long-term development projects. But anyway, guys, I'm going to end it there for this edition of Your Bulls Hot Takes. I know it was a little on the shorter side, but keep the takes coming. I'll try to get back to doing these on a weekly basis once the season rolls around. Let me know what you thought of these takes that I covered in this video, and as always, be sure to subscribe if you're a Bulls fan, as I do post daily Bulls content. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.